Are you ready to break the chains of poverty over your life? What a doctor has the remedy. The book, The 10 Commandments to Black Economic Power, is here right now, written by the People Scholar, finance PhD, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Also, buckle your seatbelt because summer 2023 B1, the movie, is about to launch. You definitely don't want to miss that. And here's what you all been waiting for. The All-Black National Convention is making a stop in Atlanta. That's right, we coming to the A. October 2023. Make sure you go to boycewatkins.com to get your tickets, or we'll have the link in the description box as well. And if you're about your money, like you better be, right? I need everybody to text the word stock to the number 31996 to receive free Dr. Boyce Watkins stock alerts. Tell them old guy sent you. Let's jump right into the story. So YNW Melly is in a double murder trial right now. Let me tell you, I've put at least 30 to 40 hours watching. I think today was day 16 or 17 of the trial, where the defense actually rested his case, putting on a friend from YNW Melly that rode in a separate vehicle. Now, his testimony is powerful, and to me, the whole case is hinging on if the jury believes that his testimony is credible. Now, this is a childhood friend of Melly who pretty much said on a stand today, I'm going to play a clip of it, that Melly actually got out of the car and got into the car with his friends before the murder allegedly took place. I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to give you my opinion, including how I think this trial is going to end. Roll tape.
Did there come a time that you were woken up before you got to the house?
Yes.
What happened?
We pulled over, and that's when Melly got in the car with us.
Do you know where you pulled over?
And I don't really remember.
Were you woken up?
Yeah, but
Why?
it was like, because I was getting pushed over a little bit.
Okay. And are you 100% sure that this young man got into the red Mitsubishi?
Yes.
What happened to the Jeep?
I think they just kept going.
Where'd you go? Did he have to unlock the door?
Yes.
Do you know who has the keys to Melly's house on October 26th in the early morning hours?
Jamell and Bortlen. They the only one who had keys to the house.
Okay. Did you have a key to the house?
No.
Did Williams have a key to the house?
No.
Did Christopher Thomas have a key to the house?
No.
Did Treveon Glass have a key to the house?
No.
Did Jacoby Mills have a key to the house?
No.
And how about Dontavius Williams? Did he have a key?
No.
Okay. So the only two people you know who had a key to the house was this young man
Yes.
and Cortlen Henry.
Yes.
Did you see this young man unlock the door of the house?
Yes.
Who was the last person to get out of the red Mitsubishi to go inside the house?
Treveon, he was in the car still asleep.
He was in the car asleep when you got to his...
Now, here's why this is bombshell information, and his fate is going to rest on if the jury believes that he is a credible witness. Now, the prosecutor did do, I think it's cross-examination, of the defense's one and only witness, right? And she did a decent job. I would say probably a 70 out of 100. I think she could have went a little harder on him, but nevertheless, she did a decent job to pretty much, show the jury in the court that his story was a little sketchy, right? And yeah, he's a friend of Melly. And quite frankly, a lot of people are saying that maybe he was paid off behind the scenes to say this, because without an eyewitness actually being there on the scene saying that, look, Melly got out of the car, right? Without that, I think he was going to be convicted. Now, why do I think the case comes down to this? Because I'm looking at all the evidence as far as the ballistic evidence, the cell phone tracking evidence, which the defense tried their best to try to say, okay, it's a phone. People were using this phone, but you can't prove that Melly was in there. Now, this is a circumstantial case, right? Meaning that it's going to be very hard for them to actually, you know, like show proof that Melly actually did this and was there. All they have is cell phone evidence and different stories, you know, of Bortlen, who was the one that was allegedly, well, not allegedly, he was actually driving the vehicle, right? And he was the one that took him to the hospital. Melly wasn't there. Now, the evidence would suggest, what I glean, is that at a point in time, maybe possibly after the murders, that Melly jumped out of the car, hid somewhere, sent his location to Fredo Bang to come pick him up, right? Now, what the hard part for the prosecution is going to be, how do you prove Melly was in a car? Now, we do have videos of Melly leaving that studio, but after that, it pretty much goes dark. You don't get to see, besides the cell phone, which they tried to argue that multiple people used that cell phone. Also, the witness that was Melly's friend came up there and said today that he noticed that his cell phone was missing and he was looking for a cell phone. So, to me, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, you know, that this witness comes, you know, proverbially out of nowhere and has this story. And people going to do this. You're going to do this for your friend, your homie you grew up with. You know, money or no money, people are going to do this. Now, what do I believe the verdict is going to be? Before I get to that, though, you do have another piece of evidence in this case, which I think is when the individual asks Melly, was he okay after the shootings? And he wrote, I did that. Shh. Now, lawyers are going to take, you know, and a good defense attorney is going to obviously say, you know, it could have been taken out of context. It could have meaning a lot of different things. Boom, boom. But it's going to come down to what the jury actually believe. If the jury actually believes this dude that is Melly's childhood friend that says, look, all right, Melly got out of the car. I don't know where, but he got out of the car and got in the car with us to go back to the crib. And we found out that Juvie and Sack Chaser was killed, right? We found out that they was killed and we started crying. And he lost his phone, despite the fact he didn't tell the investigators about losing the phone from the beginning. But that's neither here nor there. That still doesn't make Melly guilty, right? And then the law is, right, the jury is instructed on, if there is any shadow of a doubt, you cannot convict. Now, I think there's a shadow of a doubt. I think if you were to look at this, you know, the people talk about the fact that he didn't have no gunpowder residue, Melly, right? Which you can wash that off. If you remember, he wasn't immediately brought in. I think he was brought in maybe a year or some change after the actual murder. So that's washed off. They never recovered the satchel, right? They never recovered, you know, the gun, the murder weapon. They never recovered any of his clothes. So all we have is cell phone data, which just because somebody's cell phone's in the car don't mean they're in the car. That's all we have in this case, really. We have ballistics, which suggested that the shots were fired from the back driver's side rear. And when you look at the surveillance video from the studio, you've seen Melly get in that position in the car. And, you know, from ballistics and all evidence that they had, it appears from what the evidence says right now, if Melly was in that position, that he shot one guy in the back of the head, one friend in the back of the head, turned and shot another friend. Whatever the order was, they don't know. Melly jumped out of the car for whatever reason, you know, asked somebody to pick him up. Cortlen Henry drove, you know, to the hospital and said it was a drive-by shooting, which when they actually did the knowledge on it, they discovered that it was a lie. It wasn't a drive-by shooting, that the bullets that actually went into the individuals, the deceased, God rest their souls, was actually what they got shot after they were already deceased. So somebody's obviously lying here. I don't know how somebody can shoot a shot from the back of a vehicle. He said he was driving. Somebody's lying. Now, it's going to come down, like I said, you know, I think Thursday, They're going to do the closing arguments, which, if I'm not mistaken, in the state of Florida, the prosecution will get to go last. So they'll be able to, once again, bang home more and more evidence, right? Bang home more and more evidence that Melly actually did commit these heinous murders. Now, what also is, and I'm getting to what I think is going to happen, right? What also happens, what this essentially does is it points the finger at Bortlen, Melly's friend. It's like, look, I wasn't in the car. Cortlen Henry had gunpowder residue. He lied about the shooting because Melly didn't talk to the police, right? Cortlen Henry lied. This is on him. That's what Melly's team is pretty much saying. He ain't do it. He did it. Had to be him. He was the only one in the, he brought them to you in the car. Dad, he did it. I ain't do it. He did it. Right? Melly didn't have to say a word, but his team implied that. So eventually, it was a move that he had to do. It was a move that he approved at the end of the day. So, that friendship is severed, but somebody did this between the two of them. Maybe they both did it. Somebody's just not talking. Now, what I believe, my gut, right? If you waited to the end, I appreciate you. What I believe in my gut is going to happen is I think that Melly is going to be acquitted. I think he's going to be acquitted. Now, I could be wrong. I don't think they're going to have enough evidence to prove that he was, one, in the vehicle at the time of the murder, or two, right? Two, that he actually pulled the trigger. I don't think they can prove. I don't think they, can prove it. I think they put a lot of great evidence out there, right? Even evidence that would suggest that he actually did it. But if you're a juror, in my opinion, to me it's a shadow of a doubt. I'm like, well, maybe other dude did it. Maybe other dude waited till they was sleeping. He pulled over the whip, hopped in the back seat, boom. But then again, it's just so much. It's so much variables. But when it's all these different type of variables, it leaves a reasonable doubt. Remember, it's supposed to be without a reasonable doubt. So the more questions you ask, the more reasonable doubt it is. So that's my opinion. I think the verdict will probably come in Monday, Tuesday, possibly Friday. I think he'll be acquitted of this. Do I think he did it? I think he knows. I think he either knows who did it or is possibly in on it himself. That's what I think, personally, right? I could be wrong, but I also think that he has a great defense team, and I don't think that I think that there's a shadow of a doubt, put it that way. It's your brother, Oh God, man. That's my recap. We'll definitely have more when the verdict comes in a couple of days. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I appreciate y'all, man. Hey, share this video and make sure you smash the like button. Peace.